I have never read a single Emily Henry book, but today that's about to change. If you didn't already guess from the title of this video, I have rented every single Emily Henry book that my library had. This has taken me a little bit of time to get to this point because these books right here are very popular, and I would say they're like the summer read for a lot of people. I don't know how I've gone this long without having read a single one of these. I just never picked them up. I think it's because I'm mostly a fantasy reader and, you know, these aren't really fantasy. But I do love all kinds of books, and I used to read a lot of contemporary romance when I was younger, so I am excited to read these. Also, they're just beautiful books, to be honest. The covers make me happy. So hi, hello, welcome. If you're new here, my name is Liz, and I just make videos about my life and things that I love, and today that's books. So this video is probably going to be a lengthy one. I am going to take you along my journey of reading every Emily Henry book that I could get my hands on from my library. So I am going to go through them real quick. You guys are probably very familiar with Emily Henry's books. They are just very popular summer reads, contemporary romance books. But I know that they are deep, that they can get deep and emotional, so this video is probably going to be a wild ride. I have thoroughly prepared for this video. It took me a while, like I said, to get all of these books. I had to rent them, renew them, and then put a few on hold. And there is also one digital book that I may also be able to fit into this video, so it might become 5 books instead of 4, so we shall see. My goal is to read all of these in a week, but it might end up being pushed to 2. So this video is going to be vlog style. I'm going to take you on the go and update you along the way, and then at the end of the video, after I've read them all, I will review them all for you. So I'm not going to review them at the end of each book. I kind of want to review Emily Henry as an author as a whole and give like an overall review after reading all of these. So buckle up, grab a snack, grab a drink, and enjoy this video. And I will see you at the end, hopefully 1 to 2 weeks from now. So I have changed into comfy clothes. It's my period week, so when I say I planned this out, I thoroughly planned this video out. I picked a week that I could just kind of chill and veg and sit and read, and what better week to do that than period week, and hence why I've changed into comfy clothes. I also took extra days of work last week so that I could take a couple extra days off of work this week for this challenge. So I am definitely giving this challenge my all. So today it is Wednesday, June 26th, and we are going to sit down and start with Book Lovers. Yesterday into last night, I got to page 59 of Book Lovers, and I am really liking it so far. I'm not totally in love with it yet, but not much has really happened. I can usually tell within the first 100 pages what I'm gonna rate a book, unless it becomes like wild in the ending. Sometimes that will throw off the rating, but my goal is to get to page 100 right now. But I am liking it so far, and for some reason it is giving me strong Gilmore Girls vibes, especially with the little like town that they're in. I am enjoying the love interest. Like, I can already tell who the love interest is gonna be. I also love the whole like making fun of the rom-com cliche in the book. while also being a rom-com. Like, I just think that's funny when they acknowledge like the own cliche. But yeah, so far I'm really liking it. I'm gonna keep reading. I have nothing left to do today, so I can devote the rest of my day to reading this book. So I'm switching gears a little bit and I'm starting People We Meet on Vacation because I'm having a little beach day with my friend, and I just feel like this more fits the vibe of sitting on the beach than Book Lovers. But I did get to page 110 of Book Lovers last night and I am loving it. I'm fully engrossed. So I just got back from the beach. I just barely scratched the surface with this book. Me and my friend got talking and I really only got like 20 pages in, but that's okay because I really love the first 20 pages. The main character is a travel blogger, which I love and definitely resonate with, and I feel like I already just like love the main character. And I'm calling it now. Her and her best friend Alex are the love interests. I think they end up together in the end. We will see. I think that is the premise of this book, though. I don't think it's like a secret. I think right now my main goal is to finish Book Lovers. So I'm going out right now, but when I come home, I'm gonna like tuck in and read as much of Book Lovers as I can. So it's now Sunday, it's the following morning, and I'm updating you on Book Lovers because I spent last night reading this for like 2 hours till midnight when I should have gone to sleep because I had to wake up early this morning to go to church. I'm definitely at the halfway point of this book. I am so hooked. I cannot put this down. I need to know what happens. I'm at the point, so there are going to be brief spoilers in this video. They're at the point where the two main characters have sort of gotten together, and it is a tug of war at this point. And it's the point in the book where you just want to yell at the main character and be like, just love him already. And that's how I'm feeling. And it's a very like, they get together, pull back. They get together, pull back. Oh, we can't do this. We cannot do this. But that's the whole plot of the book. And of course, I know they're gonna end up together. I finished Book Lovers last night. I, again, stayed up kind of late to read this, but finished it, and I loved it. I loved it. I really hope I didn't start with like the best Emily Henry book, but for me, this was very close to 5 stars, if not 5 stars, but I don't want to rate them until the end of this video, and I kind of just want to rate them in the order of which I loved the most versus which one I liked the least, I think. So kind of like a rating Emily Henry books. Except for her newest one, Funny Story. I cannot get my hands on Funny Story, and I don't want to buy it just for this video series because the whole point was only getting books from the library. Truly loved this book. I was literally crying like little like at the end of this book, just happy tears, and just like there were some really frustrating moments, but overall I really, really loved the book. I loved that it had a happy ending, and I'm really, really excited to move on to the next one. So the next one is People We Meet on Vacation. I did already start this on my little like beach day, which you guys saw. So I'm only 20 pages in, but I was definitely intrigued by those first 20 pages. So I'm gonna spend some of today reading this. I have kind of a busy day, but this week is a slow week because it's holiday week. It's 4th of July, so I have Thursday and Friday off, paid holidays, which is awesome. So I'm going to be spending a lot of this week reading this book. So I just finished People We Meet on Vacation, and I really enjoyed it. I don't want to say I loved it. I loved the ending. I loved the last 50 pages, probably. The last 50 pages for me were worth this book. It's definitely a book that takes you on a journey. And yeah, I feel like I'm always kind of speechless after finishing a book, no matter the book, because I'm just like taking it all in, and there's always that like emotional high from like the ending of a book, especially a book that's a one-off and has a happy ending. Honestly, there's something about the characters in her books. I like see myself. I see pieces of myself in all of her characters, and I've even been like taking little notes. So at the end of this video, like I'm just gonna have so much to talk about, but thoroughly enjoyed People We Meet on Vacation. Very excited to hop into the next one because all of these have been super fast reads. Hi, hello, good morning guys. It's the start of a new day. Today is Friday, and it's also the start of another Emily Henry book. I have started Happy Place. There's just something about these covers. I absolutely love these covers. They're also so photogenic. Like, I had such a hard time deciding on a thumbnail for this video just because I got so many good pictures of these books. I feel like I'm definitely gonna buy them. If I like this one, I'm definitely just gonna buy them all and just like have them as a collection on a bookshelf. So pretty. But anyways, I have just started Happy Place. Literally just started. I'm about 10 pages in and couldn't tell you what the book is about at all yet. My goal is to finish Happy Place by the weekend, because Monday I want to bring all these books back. Sorry, my ferrets are out and they love books. They love books, huh? They love to stick their little noses in between the pages and like flip the books open and flip the pages. But yeah, I'm starting Happy Place. It's about 8 a.m. I'm going to be reading this throughout the day. I do have a lot planned for today, so probably going to do a majority of reading in the evening. But I'm going to sit down. I've got a cup of tea, and I'm going to enjoy my cup of tea while my ferrets run around. They have about half hour left to be out and see how much reading I can get done. So it's currently Saturday. I have literally not changed out of pajamas. I have been reading. I've been just having like one of those days. Have you ever just like had a weekend or a day off where you're so immersed in your book that you forget to eat and you're just like, I need to finish this book? That is this book for me. I literally just finished it. Like, I was completely wrapped up in this book. I loved this so much. I have so many thoughts and they're just all jumbled. I feel like I'm so bad at talking about books, but I'm just gonna try my best for you guys. This book was probably one of the best books about loving somebody with depression. And I just feel like that is such a hard thing to write, and I feel like it was done so well. And it wasn't like the main focal point of the story, but if you love someone with depression or you've known someone with depression, you can feel it written into this book. I just felt it, and I just loved this so much. It took me a little bit to get interested into it though. Like, I kind of just kept putting it down. I kept reading like 10 or so pages at a time. But once I finally got in, and I loved how you read sort of similar to People We Meet on Vacation, how you're going back and forth between the current stages of their relationship and when they were starting out. And the starting out just reminds you of when you're first in that relationship, that giddy feeling, and the feeling like you just are always near each other or holding hands. And that was written so beautifully, and so far this is taking the top place. I kind of have an idea of what my ranking is so far, but I have one more to get through. I honestly feel like I'm gonna be a little depressed after I finish the fourth one. I'm probably gonna run to Barnes & Nobles and buy Funny Story. And then I'm gonna be so sad. This has been the best video idea I've ever had, because I feel like a changed person now that I've experienced all these Emily Henry books. They're so good. Such good summer reads too. Really perfect, summery vibes. I loved the setting of this book, and was this book perfect? No. But I really loved it. And this is that, again, I talk about that post-book high where you're you just finished the book and you're that's the greatest thing I've ever read. I want to sit down at the end of this video and thoroughly go through the books after I've had a little bit to think about them. Beach Read is next. And I think Beach Read was her first book. So I don't know what order I read these in. I don't know what order they were published, but I have enjoyed the order I've read them in thus far. So I have quite literally just woken up, taken the ferrets out, not even brushed my hair or anything, but I needed to update you guys on this book because it's so freaking good. All of these books are so good. I don't know how I'm gonna rank them. I love this one so much. I literally stayed up last night and I'm more than halfway through. This was all last night. I literally just started reading this yesterday. I read about 10 pages in the morning, but then had to get going and do stuff, and I was filming a video. So then last night I sat down pretty early though. It was around 7 p.m. and really got through this. Part of me wants to slow down, part of me is well, this is the last book I have to read, and then the only other Emily Henry book there is for me to read is her new one, Funny Story, which I was contemplating picking up, and I could go and get it and read it in this challenge, but I want to save it. I want to take a little bit of a break from Emily Henry, and I feel like I want to make that like my last read for the summer because these books are just wonderful. Emily Henry is a very talented writer, and her books are easy to read and they just like suck you in. If you're any kind of fan of romance, contemporary romance, you don't even have to be a fan of romance because her characters have depth to them and they have a lot of imperfections and things that they're working through, and so I just really think they're good for anyone. And as far as like spice level, I really wouldn't rate these very high. I feel like maybe a 2. I highly recommend like these books to everyone. I've really been loving this one. I really cannot tell you which one has been my favorite because I need to finish this and like wait on it, because let me tell you, each book has been my favorite while I've been reading it. I'm gonna sit down this morning and probably finish this. Spoilers ahead. Skip this part if you don't want spoilers for Beach Read. I've just reached the part of the book where like it's all worth it. Like the payoff, everything. They're literally dancing in the rain. Like, this is the part of the book that I just love, that I long for, that I read until I get to. I've got 20 pages left and I don't want it to end. I need to finish this book so I can like get started with my day and get some things done. But this book has fully captured me and I'm fully absorbed. It is officially 2.5 weeks later. So I read 4 Emily Henry books. I started with Book Lovers, then I read People We Meet on Vacation, and then I read Happy Place, and I finished with Beach Read. And I'm going to be ranking them for you and letting you know my thoughts. So let's just get into it because this video has already been long enough. I've already edited the first portion and I think it's like a half hour. So I'm going to try and wrap this up very quickly for you guys. As an author as a whole, I'm definitely giving Emily Henry like 4.5 stars. And that is a very, don't get me wrong, like the half point off, that is a very high rating for an author for me personally. It's very rare for me to love almost every book that an author puts out, but for Emily Henry, all 4 of the books that I read are very strong. One, I can see a lot of myself in the characters that she writes about. There's at least like one character trait or like or dislike or just something about each character that I resonated with, which I really enjoyed because I feel like I don't really connect with a lot of the characters in books that I normally read because I'm reading a lot of like high fantasy romance books with like heroines going into battle and fairies and things like that, so I don't resonate with a lot of those characters. There are a lot of similar themes across all of her books. So something that I noticed is there is almost always a character that like is a doctor or works in a hospital or has something to do with the medical field. Not always the main character, but there's at least like one character that has to do with some kind of hospital doctor event. And I'm wondering if that is like a personal connection to her or a personal tie. There's also a lot of like writers or people who are fans of books, which you know is a personal connection. She is an author and you can definitely tell she loves books. Like I feel like was a reader first before becoming an author, which I feel like is true for most authors, but I do really feel like you can tell she loves books through her books. Another theme which I feel like is the half point for me is that there is a heavy theme of her characters feeling like they are not good enough for the other character or vice versa. It's a lot of like self-doubt and just like, I'm not good enough for you, that's why we can't be together. And while there's absolutely nothing wrong with that, and I do feel like that is a very real thought process a lot of people go through. I would have liked to see a little bit of a difference from book to book. I feel like that was a very strong theme with a lot of the romance. Also, a ton of small town settings, and this is not a knock at all. I love the small town settings. Many of her books I was getting a little bit of a Gilmore Girls vibe, especially in Book Lovers. I really enjoy like the small town setting and the small town quirks and little shops and stores, and all of her side characters thoroughly enjoyed all of that. So those were just some similarities I found between all of the books. So let's start with Book Lovers. The first book I read, I loved that they were vegetarian, because as a vegetarian myself, I was like, oh, I can definitely relate to this. And one thing in particular is the sister character Libby specifically states that she likes to go into books blind. Like, she won't even read the descriptions on backs of books. And if that is not me to a T, I don't know what is, because that is exactly how I like to go into a book. I like to read the title, I like to look at the cover and go into it. I will look up if people enjoyed it, and sometimes I will take recommendations off of friends or people I know have read and enjoyed certain books. But other than that, I don't like to know what the book is about. I like to be surprised. So I really resonated with that in the character of Libby. And then also the male love interest, Charlie, not finishing things that he loves. And if that is also not me to a T, I don't know what else is. I specifically, like, if I have a book series that I love and love, sometimes I will not read the last book for like a while, because then it doesn't end. And I've done that with TV shows, like not watching the last few episodes or the last season. And I've done that with so many things. And to have like a character and it be written, I'm like, oh, okay, so like this is a thing. Honestly, for me, Book Lovers was the one where I resonated with the characters the most, and not specifically the main character. It was honestly the side characters for me. This one though was slow to start. This one took me the longest to get into, and actually took me the longest to read through editing and looking back how long each book took me to read. So I will say this one had a bit of a slow start. I did really enjoy Charlie as a character though. Charlie was thoroughly obsessed and fully in love, and I honestly loved that. I love when a male lead character is just like fully head over heels, like he is obsessed, he will do anything for the female main character, and I really did enjoy that. For this one, they are rivals / co-workers to lovers, which was not something that I have read before. I've never read like a co-worker or like working in the same environment love story, which I did enjoy. I really loved the like text messaging, emailing back and forth, and for me, like, I love banter. I love like witty back and forth banter that's like flirty, and the text messaging, emailing was like one of my favorite parts of this book. The main female character, Poppy, in People We Meet on Vacation, I definitely resonated with her. She is a travel blogger and like works in social media, and you guys know I love filming all my travel videos, my Disney vlogs, so I definitely connected with her on that, but I didn't really see too much of myself in Alex. This is definitely a friends to lovers book, and for me personally, that's my least favorite trope to read. I don't really have like a particular reason, it's just when reading those, I find that I do rank them lower than like a rivals, enemies, strangers, like not knowing each other to lovers. Like I don't know what it is, it's just not my favorite. But I did really like the style of writing where you follow them each summer and you're following the current summer as well as all of the summers leading up to that one. I really liked that. And you guys know normally I'm not a huge fan of a book like flip-flopping all around, and I find it like pulls me out of the book. But for this one, it was done really well. It was done organically, and it worked. So I did actually enjoy it in this book, so that says something too, because normally I hate that. I did love the ending. I loved the ending, but I was very impatient for them to get together, and there were many times where I was just like face palming and just like yelling and being like, what is wrong with both of you? You obviously are both in love with each other. But honestly, that was the whole point of the book. And maybe that's why I don't like Friends to Lovers, because it's so obvious as a reader they both are in love with each other and they're just dumb and can't see it. I did really love the ending, and it was worth it. The payoff was worth it, and another one that I really enjoyed reading. I got through it pretty quick too, just because I was so impatient for them to get together. Then we move on to Happy Place. I loved this book so much. I talked a lot about my thoughts on this, so I'm not going to go into too much detail. I loved the setting. I loved all of the friends together. I just really enjoyed like the tension between the friendships, and you know, it felt like a very real depiction of having adult friends. Which I feel like you don't get a lot in books. And I really enjoyed the romantic trope. So this started out as like secret friends to lovers, and then ended up ex-lovers to lovers, which I've never read before, and I thoroughly enjoyed it, and I feel like now I'm going to look for more books that have that theme. I also really enjoyed, which I already touched on, but I really enjoyed the writing of loving someone who has depression, and I feel like that's not something I see a lot in books that's well done, or not like glorified. I feel like sometimes mental health can be glorified. I really enjoyed that a lot about this book. Win and Harriet were probably my favorite romance overall. Like, I loved the amount of spice in this one. This one was definitely a little bit spicier than the other two. Then we move on to Beach Read. I read this one last, so it does have the advantage of being like my last impression. August was by far my favorite male lead. I love a broody, just like, man, I don't know what it is. I just loved August so much. I read this the fastest. I read this in one day. Technically I read because I started it in the nighttime of one night and then I finished it in the early morning of the following day. So this was definitely my fastest read. And again, they are rivals to lovers, working as both authors. So I really enjoyed this. This was the one though, there was nothing that struck out to me as relating to either characters, but for some reason I ended up enjoying these characters the most. This was also my favorite romance. So my two favorite romances are Beach Read and Happy Place between the two main characters. So now we get to the part that everybody has been waiting for, the ranking. I will say this was a difficult ranking for me. Happy Place for me is number 1. Beach Read is number 2. Book Lovers is number 3. And People We Meet on Vacation is number 4. That is my ranking. I would love to know if you guys agree. Like, if you've read all of the Emily Henry books, let me know your ranking down below. I would love to know everyone's thoughts on these books. And if you haven't read these, let me know if I've convinced you to read them. Because if anything from this video, I am converted. I am an Emily Henry fan. I'm a stan. And I will be reading everything she publishes. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. This video took a long time to make. It was definitely a time commitment, but I hope you guys enjoyed it. I hope it was well worth it and like you guys really enjoyed this video, because I have been really enjoying making the book content videos, and I feel like I have really re-entered my reading era. Like, I am a very passionate reader, but I feel like every reader goes through the ebbs and the flows of where like you fall out of it and then you fall back into it, and right now I am fully in. So I hope you guys enjoyed. If you'd like to see more book videos, make sure to hit that thumbs up button and don't forget to subscribe, and I'll see you guys in my next video.